Hi, everyone. Welcome to week 7 of the WMBC Bible reading plan. This week we finish off the book of Matthew, which I think is really appropriate because we've just started the period of Lent when we're preparing for Easter, and now we get to read the Easter story as a part of that preparation. And as I was reading through the stories this week, I was struck by two things, and both of them point to the perspective of Jesus on what is happening over the last week of his life, or even the last few days. So the first is the moment in the garden after Jesus is done praying when he is betrayed. One of his followers attacks the servant of the high priest, attacks him with a sword. And Jesus tells him, don't you understand? Don't you get it? If I wanted to, I could bring thousands of angels to my defense, but that's not what I'm doing. And that reminded me of near the beginning of the book of Matthew when Jesus is in the wilderness being tempted by Satan. And the devil says, why don't you just call some angels down to turn these stones into bread to feed yourself? You must be hungry. The other time in the reading that we're going to do that really, I think, drew out the perspective of Jesus is when he is on trial and the high priest is just very upfront and says, are you the Messiah? Are you the Son of God? And Jesus says, that's what you say. But I'll tell you right now that after this moment, you will see the Son of Man ascending to the throne at the right hand of the Father. And that is a direct quote from Daniel chapter 7. If you have time this week, you should read the chapter of Daniel 7. Because what Jesus is doing is he's contrasting two things that are going on. In Daniel 7, the vision has two parts. One where there are these monstrous creatures that are rising out of the sea and they're devouring people and they're laying waste to the land. But then at the same time, Daniel sees this Son of Man, this human but glorious, riding on clouds, ascending to the throne to be at the right hand of the Father. And this person is given authority and has the authority to destroy all these creatures. And I think what Jesus is pointing to by using that passage, not only is he the Son of Man, the one who's ascending to the throne, but he's also giving the Pharisees in the trial and his own disciples in the garden a glimpse that there's two things going on. There's something happening right now. You're fighting back physically because you think that is the kind of kingdom that I'm bringing. You Pharisees look around and you think you're winning because you're going to kill me. And from one perspective, that's true. But from a different perspective, the perspective of Jesus, all of these things need to happen. And he's not losing. He's coming into his kingdom. And so this week, as we read, my prayer for us is that we would more and more understand Jesus' perspective, the perspective and understanding and way of viewing the world that he brings, that people in his kingdom have, and that we would grow in our ability to look at our own world and our own lives through that perspective. God bless you as you read.